Mastering the art of small talk to make a magnetic first impression. This is interesting. I rather enjoy doing this one because I can't stand small talk. I can't. I INTJ personality type, and small talk just bores me. It wears me out. I don't even want to. Anyway, there are reasons that small talk is okay initially if you do it the right way, but you don't want to take it too far, because it gives off negative impressions typically, that may not even be true about you. So, the most important thing is when you first meet someone, don't go into it trying to impress somebody. That's a mistake. Most people can see right through that, and it's not a comforting thing on the receiving end. What you want to do is not overthink it, because that's where most people go wrong, and make it as comfortable, and make the other person as comfortable as possible. Not, just don't look at it as a you thing, look at it as a them thing. And don't worry about what their impression is gonna be necessarily. If you are trying to make them comfortable and you are polite and decent, that's really all that matters. And there's things I love, out of the box things. I love when people use a little creativity to kind of stir things up a little bit, because that's what makes you memorable. I always say, never be boring. And that is, if you're boring, or if you're construed as being boring, guess what? You're going to lose their interest, and you will not get a second chance, more than likely. And there's I put a lot of different ideas on this video, and they're kind of out of the box, but they're not out of the world. And that's important. You can be out of the box, but don't go out of the world, out of the planet, because then they'll be like, whoa, and you're going to scare them. But a little bit of out of the box talk, in the conversation. But the most important thing after your initial meeting, and remember that their brain has already decided if they like you or not. So don't try to impress. Don't try to, win them over. It won't work. But also super important is to listen. Let them speak. I used to be a negotiator, so I learned this really early on. If you just let someone talk, people love to talk about themselves, and they will. Let the other person talk and listen to what they're saying and watch their body language. This will tell you so much information. If you watch the body language and you listen to what they're saying, you will get so much information. You'll be so glad that you did that, because it's information that you probably wouldn't have gotten, just by asking. And if they ask you a question, acknowledge it. Oh, that's a great question. And then answer it, and then be like, I look forward to sharing more about this with you at a later time. Perfect. Because that kind of, it brings some excitement to the conversation. It brings some, hope, and ooh. Then they don't have to guess if you're interested in seeing them again. That's huge. Because a lot of people play that little game, and it makes you look like you are not a game player. It makes you look like you are interested, and it makes you look like you know what you want, and you have self-confidence. Self-confidence is huge. People love self-confidence, as long as you don't go too far and are cocky. Self-confidence is big. But the biggest thing is, be a little bit creative, and, say random, but yet not so random things. Make comments, ask questions that are a little bit, not the norm. Because if you do what everybody else does, guess what? You're not going to be memorable. And you want to be memorable in a positive way. So be authentically you, but also think outside the box. It doesn't have to be this big, I have to make a good impression, because guess what? The more you try to make a good impression, the less of a good impression you're going to make. Because like I said, that brain, the other person's brain is already processed way quicker than you can even act. So don't even go there. Just focus on curiosity and comfort, and it'll be great. And if you do this, you will not, you'll leave somebody with a good impression without actively trying to make a good impression. It's not going to appear like you were trying to impress somebody, because you're not going to say all the usual typical things about how great you are and how you've done this and how you've done that. You're not going to say that. You're going to be saying different things. You're going to be asking questions that are a little bit random, but not too random. Make people think. People love to think. And that helps the small talk out of the way. And if you get so good at this, and you can go and engage conversation just about anywhere you go with just about anybody, because you'll know how to kind of read the situation, and you'll come up with something a little bit random, and people will be like, whoa, okay, this is interesting. And that's what you want to do. Good luck.